Hi friends, welcome back to Healthy Little Moments. I'm Dorota, I'm your host, and today's episode is a little different. It's a bonus edition. I'm recording this because of a moment I honestly did not expect to take off. So I left a quick comment on a TikTok video about side hustles. Casually, I said, I run a blog, and to my surprise, the comments, especially the DMs, blew up. So many people wanted to know, how do I start blogging? Is blogging still a thing? Like, I've always wanted a blog. There were so many comments on the post that said, I've always wanted to start a blog. I have no idea how. I don't even know where to start, etc. So I'm here today on this special edition to answer all of that and more, because I believe in sharing information, not gatekeeping, and people have been so generous in sharing with me, and I want to pass that on. And even if I can help just one person turn their passion into their purpose, and then that's what I'm here for, and I'm happy to do it. So let's dive into why blogging is very much alive in 2025 and how you can start your own blog from scratch at home, and all the ways that you can grow it into something meaningful and ideally profitable. So let's first bust this myth of, is blogging dead? So let's start with the question that's probably in the back of your mind. Is it blogging? Isn't that like from 2010? And it's not dead. It's just changed. How we blog and why we blog, and the content is just different. So if you're listening to this and you have something to say, you have something to teach somebody, something to build, you're passionate about something, or you want a creative outlet, a blog is still really one of the best tools out there to do that. So here's some quick stats that I've pulled together that I really want to share with the skeptics, just to lay the foundation here, okay? Over 77% of internet users still read blogs regularly. 3/4. 61% of online purchases are influenced by blog recommendations. And I know if you're listening to this, you're like, oh yeah, you click on the top 10 summer dresses of the season, and next thing you know, you're on Amazon purchasing a cute summer dress. Companies that blog get 67% more leads than those who don't. And yes, you can make money blogging. We're going to get into that. People are doing it every single day. So back in the day, blogging was more about diary entries, right? You would read a blog and people were just literally writing about their life, which is interesting and cool, but that's now turned towards social media. And blogging today is more about building a community, teaching, inspiring, creating long form, searchable content that lives beyond that 15-second or 7-second reel that we see on TikTok or Instagram now. So this takes me to what I want to touch on, is why I started Healthy Little Moments. And for me, it was kind of two-part. First, I really craved a real community. I felt I had something to share, and it was a lot deeper than what social media could offer. I had a lot of content that I wanted to share from my personal health journey, that I wanted to kind of compile in one place and offer that to people who needed it, because I know it could positively impact many others. And second is, I didn't want to be really at the mercy of an ever-changing algorithm, right, on social media. So at one time I was like taking off on Instagram, and then it was, my reel reached all of 20 people, and it didn't feel organic. It felt like somebody else was controlling it. And I want to compare social media to blogging for a minute, because social media is, think of it like renting a space in a crowded mall where the landlord keeps changing the rules. It's like very hectic, and you're competing for people. But your blog is like owning your own little space that you've built from the ground up. You decide what goes on the walls, the color of the walls, how people come in and out, and what kind of experience they have when they visit your little cottage or little home. So Healthy Little Moments for me became my little piece of home on the internet, a place where I get to create content I love, talk about what I'm passionate about, and connect with people on a deeper level, and hopefully make an impact. So if you're interested in that, you can absolutely do it. It's very easy. You just need a few tools and a roadmap. So if you're thinking, what's in it for me for blogging, right? So let's talk about some of the real benefits. First, you own your own platform. No one can shadow ban your blog. Second, you can build long-term SEO traffic that grows over time. Different than social media. In social media, you post an image, for example, on Instagram, and your friends see it and they like it, and that's it. It's never going to go viral again. Sometimes reels do on TikTok. Obviously take all of this with a grain of salt. There are exceptions to every rule. But with long-term SEO traffic, if somebody is searching for something, it can become popular again. So really funny funny example to bring this to light. I wrote a blog article that was the most specific niche article I've ever written. It was about golden kiwis. I had no idea how beneficial they were. I read about them. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do some research and write about it. It is truly, to this day, my most read blog about it's 10 benefits of golden kiwis. And I didn't know people were so interested, but they were. And it's apparently a really great article. So, but what's funny is it went viral-ish for a blog. And then months later, just a few months ago, I was looking at my metrics and it blew up yet again. I guess because of Pinterest, or maybe because it was summertime, or maybe they were in season. I don't know. But that same article kept coming up on people's searches, and they were reading about it. So it's not like a one and done. Something you write today can truly add value 5 years from now. Third, it can become your digital hub for everything. So your emails, you can sell products, offer services, your social links, everything. It's a one-stop shop that's a lot more dynamic and interesting than a link tree, for example. Next is you can monetize in many different ways, so many different ways. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. And then most importantly, it gives you a place to really build something that's truly yours and something that you really care about that nobody can take away from you. So, if somebody hacks your Instagram, you lose all those followers and access to that community and all of your content. And it's much different with a blog. That's yours. You own it. All right. So let's get into some of the step-by-step. So how to start a blog. Let's break down the process so you know exactly what to do. So step 1 is you find your niche. This is truly the most important. Before you buy your domain, before you set up your site, you have to ask yourself some questions. What are you passionate about? What lights you up? What do you know a lot about? What do people come to you for advice on? What could you write about or talk about every single day for a year, not get bored of it, or not run out of content? So really great example. I have a friend, Stephanie. She's an incredible health, and she's been gluten-free for 30 years. So of course, all her friends and family know she follows a gluten-free diet. She's actually severe celiac. And she reached out to me a month ago and she said, I want to write a blog. I want to create a blog for all my content about going gluten-free because people really need that information. And she gets at least one phone call a week where somebody is, asking her for advice on how to go gluten-free. So that's a really extreme example because it's very, very specific, but that's a really great example of that's something you're known for that you could talk about forever. And I really want to mention that the more specific you are, the better. So for example, a friend from my blogging course that I took, we were part of a syndicate group, and he started a super niche blog on gardening. And that blog made him $10,000 a month in passive income. He just helped people with plant care. And I went to the blog, and he actually spun off and started 3 separate ones, and he's really making a lot of money off of this. And the blog isn't even incredible. No offense to him, but it's not designed in any very particularly special, incredible way. It's just, he really is passionate about gardening, and he shares gardening tips, and he makes a ton of money. So pick a niche that you love, something that other people could be interested in, and the more specific, the better. Number 2, pick a blog name and domain. And what I want to be really clear here is just make it simple, clear, and aligned with your niche and what you're talking about. The number 1 question that I get from people is, can I make it your name? Yes, you absolutely can. But if you can make it something that speaks to what you're talking about, honestly, even better. So for example, you all know this podcast, Healthy Little Moments, and every single word that I picked was very intentional because my name is literally my mission. And it's sharing and inspiring little moments that help people lead a healthier and happier life. And I love this because I feel like it's made such an impact in my life, and I want to share that with other people. So that's just an example. And then once you have your name, you can buy your name through so many different domain. Then you can buy your domain through so many different platforms, whether it's Namecheap, Google Domains, honestly, anywhere. A ton will pop up. You can just Google it. Step 3 is you need to get your hosting, and then you need to build your site. So to get hosting, you can use SiteGround or Bluehost. I use SiteGround. I'm very happy with them. By the way, I'm not an affiliate with anything that I'm talking about, but if the companies hear this and want to reach out, please do. But I just really authentically like these. And please don't use WordPress.com. It's actually very different than WordPress.org. So I want to make that very clear. WordPress.org is what all of the main bloggers, millions of viewers and subscribers use, because it is just, it's the most compatible with future growth and everything you're going to want to build. So you have full control of changing and managing your website. You have access to all of the plugins. I'm going to talk about plugins later, but that's basically like the apps on your phone, like all the little extras that you want to get. You can have features for customization, and you just have better SEO and monetization options. So why not start with the best one? So real quick sidebar story, I actually started on a different platform, one where you kind of like buy one of those out, boxed templates and call it a day. And I didn't realize how limited I was. So only about 6 months into blogging, I realized how limited I was, and I had to restart. And I purchased my WordPress.org. I signed up for WordPress.org, and I couldn't transfer all of my blogs to WordPress.org. So I had to rewrite a lot of them. Of course, it was like copy, paste, and it was so clunky. It took me weeks. And I actually started this when I was 6 weeks postpartum. So there were a lot of late nights and tears and frustration. I almost gave up. There was a point where I said, I just can't do this. I've put so much heart and soul into writing these articles, and now I have to rewrite all of this. And it was very, very frustrating. So start off strong from the get-go. Build a company that that you're going to want around, and you're building for long-term growth and not just like an easy band-aid fix. Next is pick a really clean template. I love Cadence. I heard Astra is really good. I'm using Cadence. What's really great, and here's a hack, it's $1 million idea. You can actually purchase a design template from Etsy. That's what I did. So I love this because you're supporting a small business, a small designer. I purchased a Cadence template. Believe this or not, I'm going to share this with you guys. It was on a flash sale for $12. And I get so many compliments on the template and the colors and the way that it looks. And the owner, the designer of the shop, was really friendly. She actually helped me when I was having some issues with, which was really user error. She gave me a lot of grace and helped me out there. So all that to say is there's really easy ways. You don't have to be a designer. You can literally just purchase a template. Number 4 is you can secure your social media handles right when you purchase your website. I would highly recommend to go to those platforms right away and grab your name. And honestly, I'm going to pause and just say, when you're thinking about your website name, go to a few social media platforms and make sure that your handles are available on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, etc. Because you want consistency across all the platforms. It really does help build your brand. So make sure to consider Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. So next is the really fun part, and I'm going to take a sip of coffee before we continue. So this is the best part, how to monetize your blog, even if you're a beginner, because I might have said this in the beginning, but when you have a social media following of, let's say, 5,000, you're considered a micro influencer and you can land brand deals. But a lot of companies might think, well, are those just a follow for follow? Or is this just a very popular person? What influence do they have over those 5,000 people? What engagement do they have? But more so the influence. Versus a blog, even if you just have 500 or 1,000 people coming to your blog a month, those are people who are very intentionally choosing to follow what you say. And that just shows direct influence that you have over this community. And then additionally, when you build an email subscriber list, which we will talk about, you've direct connection and community that you're building through your blog. And that is so powerful. So again, even if you're starting small, you can reach out to these companies, and there are many ways to monetize. So I'm going to run through some of these, and I'm going to get into this a little bit deeper in an ebook that I'm writing to help you guys out. So ways to monetize: affiliate marketing, Amazon, link to know, share a sale. There's so many different ways out there. I would recommend choosing one and really leaning into that before you grow. Next, sponsored posts. post and brand deals. A company can sponsor a blog post and you charge per post as a really great way to make money. Digital products, ebooks, templates, courses, you can build all of that. I just finished my first ebook and it took me way too long. I'm embarrassed to say that it took me a whole year to finish it, and I'm hoping to post it in the next month or so. In the next few weeks, I'm in the final editing. Anyhow, it will be on my website soon and I'm so excited about it. And just something I'm very passionate about, and just another way to monetize off of something I know and I'm so passionate about. Next is one-on-one services or coaching. I know a lot of people who offer coaching services, especially wellness coaching, life coaching, just another option. Next is ad revenue. You can start with something like Google AdSense, and then when you have a certain number of followers, I believe it's 10,000 a month, you can grow to Medivine. And I personally have opted not to start with ads on my blog just yet because I didn't want to deter people from looking at my blog when I just had dribble of people coming in to look at the blog. And so I opted to focus on my long-term growth versus a short-term money grab. But I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think about building your platform first. That's my personal opinion. Next is email promotions to your subscribers. So, if you partner with a company, perhaps a sponsored post, they can offer you additional incentive or maybe a code that you can email to your subscribers. It's another way to monetize. There's a lot of freelance work that comes through blog visibility as well. And then lastly is you can build a membership or private group. There are a lot of ways to do that right now. There's a place called Skool, Skool, that is building these membership based types of groups where you charge monthly, and those are really, really taking off. Something to consider as well. I'm looking to build that out in the next month as well. It's new and it's really exciting. So there are a lot of options, but the key in all of this, not to get ahead of yourself to think about the monetization, but just to think about creating real value, building trust with your community, with your readers, and then monetize in a way that feels ethical and authentic to you and your brand. And I really want to stress that. And I'm going to actually dig a little deeper in that because if you're on TikTok, everybody has been on TikTok Shop. I am as well. I'm an affiliate marketer on TikTok Shop, but I'm seeing a lot of inauthentic selling on TikTok. Like I saw this video, and this is not to knock anybody, but I really want to drive home this point. A mom was like selling these t-shirts. It's like a 3-pack for X amount of dollars. And it's a great basic, but she's like, these are the best t-shirts I've ever had in my life. Look how great I look. And these are amazing. You can go out in it. And no, you can't go out in this t-shirt. Like it was such an oversell, and I just felt like everything was like so over the top. So for my brand, I've just made a commitment to myself to just promote something that I truly love, what I'm passionate about, and that's, I think, going to pay off. I'm in the process of signing a partnership deal with a skincare line that has completely revolutionized my skin that I've been using for 2 years. It's a brand that I know, love, and trust, and I'm going to be so excited to promote it and to sell it and just to educate my viewers about this because of what it's done for my skin, especially postpartum, and it's completely revived my skin. So I say that just to really think about that as you build out your blog strategy. All right, so next, we're almost at the end here, but I next really want to talk about why you need an email list, really more than followers. And I touched on this a little bit earlier, but let me say this really clearly, as clear as I can. I want to scream this off the rooftops. Build your email list. Build your email list. This is going to be so valuable to you because social media, like I mentioned, can disappear tomorrow, but your email list, that is yours forever. It's personal. It's a lot more effective when it comes to engagement and conversions. And in order to do that, you can start with a simple freebie. So for example, we've all done it. You go to a website and it says, click here to download this free guide or this checklist or recipe bundle or whatever. It's just invites people into your brand, but it also offers them something. So I don't know how many times a week I do this, but I pop in my email and then I get the guide or whatever it may be. And that's what I recommend doing on your website as well. And then that's where the relationship begins, and then you can build that community and engage with your followers. All right, so I am going to wrap it up here. If you've been thinking about starting a blog, I hope that this podcast is your sign to do so. And I just want to remind you that you don't have to be perfect from the get-go. And you don't need to know all the answers. You're going to find the answers. You're going to be a better writer, a better website designer. You just really need to start. And I would say if you just want a goal, think about your niche and just start writing. If you have some downtime, write a few blog articles, maybe 5 or 10, or set a number in your head that you want to start with. And then maybe have a running list of blog ideas that you want to write about in the future, just in a notepad or whatnot. And I know that a lot of this that I covered, it's a lot to take in, but I do have something really exciting that I want to share with everybody. I'm working on a full A to Z ebook that covers everything about starting your blog, from picking your niche to setting up in WordPress, growing your email list, and then monetizing your blog from very early on, not having to wait a year or two. So I hope that it's going to be very easy for you to follow. It's tactical, and it's going to have all the tools and the templates that I wish I had when I started. And of course, my email subscribers are going to have first access to this. So head to healthylittlemoments.com for 2 reasons. You can check out my blog, see what a almost seasoned blog looks like, and then make sure to sign up for the newsletter so that you don't miss the first access to this ebook. All right, that is it for this bonus episode, friends. Thank you so much for being here and for your curiosity and for your courage to want to build something that's yours, that's your own. So just a reminder to start messy and just stay consistent. That's the most important. And remember, you don't need 1 million followers to make an impact. You just need a little courage and a blog, a home that feels truly yours. So until next time, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next Healthy Little Moments podcast.